It seems like the Ricciardo saga just cannot end. The 8-time race winner is looking for a spot in F1 that would suit him the most, and although it seemed like a very easy process in the beginning, Ricciardo is having a hard time finding a vacant spot from 2023 and beyond. His choices have narrowed down to just a couple of teams like Haas and Williams, who won't be able to pay him nearly the same amount that he's set to receive from the buyout agreement with McLaren. However, there is one option available for Ricciardo, one that he has acknowledged and one that he has accepted as a real possibility, and that is the reserve driver role. Mercedes are willing to offer him this spot, and the chances that he'll sit out the 2023 season and conquer the 2024 spot in the Brackley-based team have never been higher. In this video, we're going to talk about Ricciardo's possibilities and reality check when it comes to his Mercedes quest. Don't go anywhere. Daniel Ricciardo has had a fair share of struggles with McLaren. The Woking-based team hasn't really suited the Aussie, and it's even more painful that he came off a P5 season in 2020 in Renault to a team that finished P3 in the Constructors' Championship. Everybody expected him to deliver top-notch performance and be in the constant battle for podiums, but that has been anything but the truth. Ricciardo's only highlight of McLaren is his P1 finish in Monza, the 8th one in his career, as Norris followed up for a 1-2 finish of McLaren in 2021. Other than that, the Aussie has constantly been back marker and only has 19 points with 6 races remaining in 2022. It became evident that McLaren must look out for a solution regarding this matter, and it wasn't a comfortable talk between Ricciardo and the team. The Aussie was under contract in 2023, and if McLaren was to bring a replacement for him, then they were supposed to agree on buyout terms with Ricciardo first. After all of that has been done, McLaren announced Piastri, and now Ricciardo is without a seat for the 2023 season. So what were his initial options, and why is he likely to settle up with Mercedes' reserve driver seat in 2023? Well, Alpine was the most obvious choice when the drama unwound down as it did. After all, it would have been a replacement of drivers, as Piastri refused the vacant seat of Alonso and Ricciardo would have made a comeback. However, the Enstone-based team is looking in another direction, as they are likely to sign a younger driver like Gasly or Giovinazzi. Haas became another option, especially after reports went out that Steiner contacted Ricciardo on multiple occasions throughout the summer break. However, this is very unlikely to happen due to the fact that Haas's budget is nowhere near Alpine's, and Ricciardo is set to bank on $15 million from the Woking-based team if he doesn't drive in another team in 2023. The same story goes with Williams, and that is why Ricciardo is kind of forced to accept the F1 reserve driver role. But what does he have to say regarding this matter? He spoke multiple times that his future is in F1 and that he won't go anywhere else if there is an opportunity to still remain in the sport. He has been related to the IndyCar 500, driving for McLaren's team there, but it's unlikely that he'll accept this role, even though he is very popular in the USA and could build himself a brand there. Still, Ricciardo said if a project opportunity was offered to him and it was the right thing to do, he could love it, and he didn't deny that. He can join a team that has long-term plans of winning, as he added, "I still definitely have the ability to love a project. Of course, if there is this longer project and this one where you're going to win tomorrow, of course I'm going to go for the quick wins. They are things I will definitely give some thought to. I don't also want to be stubborn or short-sighted and be like, no, I'm not interested in that. I will give everything its respected thought. From 2017, every 2 years I've been with a different team. I don't want to just sign something and think, wait, now something else is there for 2024. So it's probably not as simple as just getting somewhere on the grid next year. It can probably go in many different directions, so I don't think it needs an immediate decision. It's going to be about what's best for me." When asked about his future, Ricciardo said, "I wouldn't give up on F1. If it means I'm not on the grid next year, I'll certainly try to find a way to be on there in 2024. It's honestly the only racing I'm really interested in at the moment. My mindset is still, I am an F1 driver. I am proud of what I've done, but I still feel there's a bit more to show. I wouldn't race another category next year," said Ricciardo. The truth is, I'm keeping every option open, not only for the next year, but for the future. I still don't know what next year looks like. As Lewis said earlier, I do want to be on the grid. I do want to race. Although it's certainly been a challenging time in my career, it hasn't taken the love of the sport away from me and the desire to still be here and still compete, finished Ricciardo. According to a very experienced F1 journalist, Joe SAWARD, Mercedes have already contacted Ricciardo for the reserve driver role, and they are considering him to be the main candidate for the position if, of course, the Aussie wants to accept it. The latest word is that Daniel might take a year off in 2023 if he is not offered the Alpine drive. Then, as an experienced F1 winner, he could return to the sport as a reserve in 2024, helping to rebuild his confidence by measuring his performance against the top names. I hear he has been talking to Mercedes about such a role, which would put him in with a chance of a race drive in the future if Lewis Hamilton decides that he has had enough. That must happen eventually, and while Mercedes has George Russell in place, it's waiting for the next big thing, finished Joe. Mercedes does have a reserve driver in Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who is currently racing in F4 and has 4 wins under his belt, but by the time he comes in Mercedes and replaces Hamilton, there will be a gap filled by an experienced driver that won't let Mercedes team go down the drain just like that. However, things aren't looking great for Ricciardo if you ask the main guy, the one that he is supposed to replace in Mercedes, and that is Lewis Hamilton. The Briton spoke about his future and his well-being, as well as about Ricciardo, as he said that if he was his manager, Ricciardo would never be a reserve driver on any team. I think he's far too talented and he's earned the right to be amongst us all racing. If he's part of our team, that'd be great, but a third role is not really what's best for him. If I was managing him, he'd be racing, said Hamilton, who also added that he has never felt better in his 37th year of life and that he plans to extend the deal with Mercedes in the upcoming period. For me, I feel healthier than I've ever felt. Fit, I love what I'm doing and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Goal is to always be with Mercedes. I signed with them in 1997. I love that we have the long partnership we have. I feel like we are embarking on a lot of really positive things, not only in the sport but outside, and I think there's a lot to accomplish together. I want to be a part of that, finished Hamilton. With this, it means that Hamilton isn't really keen on giving up the spot in Mercedes as easily as we all thought so, and it might be even harder for Ricciardo to suit up for the reserve driver role, knowing that Hamilton will still be there in 2024. With that being said, there is a high possibility that we'll see Ricciardo in Mercedes in 2024, but that is all in the hands of Hamilton and the Brackley-based team. What do you think about this matter? Let us know in the comments below.